I knew I'd have to get plastered for this video. Hi everyone, welcome. Wow, I haven't even had a drink yet and I'm already flubbing this. So, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Sean. Today I am doing the long-awaited return of drunk booktube videos. I've only done a few of these because I just don't like alcohol. But for this video, I thought, yep, this is the video where that long-awaited series of videos, drunk book reviews, should continue. So the guest of honor for this occasion is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. And I'm just gonna put this up here. So I guess, what am I waiting for? I should take a drink. Oh god, I can just like feel the alcohol coming off this just in my throat, just like, oh my gosh. So this is a White Russian. This is kind of my drink of choice. It's the main drink of choice from the film The Big Lebowski, one of my favorite films. And I don't like alcohol whatsoever, but I figure, you know, why not? That's kind of a cult classic, The Big Lebowski. So White Russians are kind of my drink of choice. So here we go. Yeah. Not bad. Oh man. Okay. Oh. Okay, so last week at the bookstore, or was it this week? Whatever. Anyway, last Tuesday at the bookstore, I saw this book waiting to be shelved, an online book. And so once I saw it, I saw the spine and I was like, is that signed? And I checked and I saw that it is. So right away I was like, okay, I want this. And I got it for pretty cheap. I think just $13. So signed book. Son of a Witch by Gregory Maguire, signed book. So yeah, I've been looking for a signed book by this author for a little while. And so oh man, that White Russian is burning my throat. So I've been looking for a signed book by this author for a while, and I finally saw it at the bookstore last Tuesday, and so I got it. And I really did not plan on reading the first book in this series. This is actually, I think, the second book in the Wicked series. Son of a Witch, signed. And so I really didn't plan on, oh my gosh, that White Russian. Whew. I feel like I drank a volcano. Anyway, I didn't plan on reading this book because I have some problems with the idea of the Wicked series. And so I was going to just film a drunk booktube video ranting about why I do not like Wicked. But then I kind of got to thinking, you know, why should I do a book review for a book I've never read and I have no interest to read? I mean, at least try the book and see, you know, how is the guy's prose? Is his writing actually really good? Never mind the story things that I have problem with. How is his actual writing? So I tried to see like the next day if we had a copy of Wicked at the bookstore. We did not. So then I called the books or the library. Man, I'm already flubbing this so much and I'm not even drunk. I called the library to ask if they had a copy and they did. So I got the copy of Wicked from the library. I need another drink. Oh God. Holy moly. Pretty good. Oh, God. For my last time having a drunk or doing a drunk booktube video, I had Smirnoff, I think, vodka, but this time I tried Tito's because I looked up, what is the best vodka for White Russians? And Tito's was kind of mentioned as one of the more popular choices. And then I was looking up videos of comparing vodka. I was going to say wine. Oh my God, I'm screwing this video up so much. I looked at a video of ranking different kinds of vodkas, and on one channel, Tito's was #1. But in the comments, a lot of people were saying like Tito's is garbage. But, whew. Okay, anyway. Oh, my eyes are so watery. Better have something to flush it down with. It's pretty good though, I guess. Not bad, actually. I think I'm getting used to it. Okay, so I don't know where to start for this book. So I got it a few days ago from the library, and so I began reading it, and really the first page was like, yep, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Let's actually open this up because I have problems with this book, and I don't want to say that part yet. But here it is in the prologue. One of the first lines is from the Tin Woodsman, and they're talking about the Wicked Witch and like why she is the way she is. And so here the Tin Woodsman or Woodman says she was castrated at birth. She was born a hermaphroditic, or maybe entirely male. Oh, you see castration everywhere you look, said the Lion. I'm only repeating what folks say, said the Tin Woodman. And then it goes on where the Tin Lion says, she was deprived of a mother's love, is how I heard it. She was an abused child. She was addicted to medicine for her skin condition. So what that is doing right away is, first off, oh God, there's so many layers to this. Okay, first off, just the stuff about like, oh, she was castrated at birth. And it goes on a little bit more than that, so I guess I'm going to just cover that now. I feel like I'm talking really loud. The Scarecrow says, she's a woman who prefers the company of other women. And then another one says, she's the spurned lover of a married man. And then, she is a married man. So what that's doing right away is that is like this whole idea of the story. Again, I feel like I'm talking really loud. I'm so sorry. The whole idea of this story is that it is making the Wicked Witch, I always forget if it's the Wicked Witch of the West or the Wicked Witch of the East. I guess it says right here, the Wicked Witch of the West, but I always get it confused. I don't know why. It just seems like East represents evil, because that's how it is in like Tolkien. So they're going east toward Mordor, and that represents evil. You know, you're going toward the east, you're descending into evil. And I always think in the Wizard of Oz story that they're traveling east. So I kind of always think that's where the Wicked Witch is. But yeah, I guess it is the West. I don't know. That's just some weird thing for me. Anyway, oh God, I forgot what I was going to say. I need another drink. I should have made 2 of these. I'm downing it pretty quick. Oh, gosh dang. Oh, not bad. Okay, so my problem with the Wicked series is that, oh man, I'm flubbing this video so hard. I'm like not even trying to act drunk. I mean, I'm kind of exaggerating it a little bit, but I'm making mistakes I'm not meaning to make, and my ears feel like they're getting real red. So my problem with the Wicked series is that the author is trying to make the Wicked Witch of the West into a sympathetic character. And basically how he does that, and you see it right there with a few of the lines. Again, there's several things I wanted to talk about here. But one of them is that they're talking about just, oh, she's a hermaphroditic. She loves another woman. She was spurred by a lover. She was an adulteress. She was actually a woman. She's born with a male part. and all that stuff. So what that is doing is, instead of making the Wicked Witch a sympathetic character, it's just making the other characters who we like, know and love, you know, the Scarecrow, the Woodsman or whatever. I always want to say Woodsman. I don't know if it's Woodman or Woodsman. I want to say Woodsman. Did I say the lion, the Scarecrow, the lion, and the Woodsman? It's making them just into assholes. Instead of like actually making her, the Wicked Witch, into a sympathetic character, how does he do it? He does it by the most easy way possible, which is just making everyone else unbearable, unlikable. And so then it's like, oh, these people are all jerks, so this Wicked Witch doesn't seem like she's as bad a person. And that's just something I hate, when a lot of like media tries to make a villain appear reasonable or likable, is they just make everyone else into like complete slobs. I don't want to hold this, so I'll put it back. So just while I'm on this is like something that happens in an Assassin's Creed game called Rogue, where you play as basically a guy who will go from being an assassin to a Templar. And so basically the assassins are the bad people in that game. So how do they do it? They do it by making every assassin in that game into a complete unlikable jerkwad. And so I just think that is really not very creative on the part of the writer. It's just to think, how do I make a sympathetic villain? Well, I'll just make all the heroes into complete jerks. And so that way it'll seem like, hey, the villain isn't that bad, because everyone else is rude to them. Everyone else is mean. So this person, you know, whoever they want to be likable, is just kind of a victim of that. They're just getting bullied. All the other people are just mean. So here you see right off the bat, the very first page, the woodsman, the lion, and the Scarecrow are just complete jerkwads, and they're all talking about, oh, she's hermaphroditic, she's secretly a male. Like basically they're anti-LGBT. So it's like, oh, look, those characters are just homophobes or whatever. They're transophobes or whatever. So the Wicked Witch must not be that bad. And then, oh gosh, I picked it up. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be holding that. And then it talks about the line about how, oh gosh, I forgot how it goes. I need to pick it up. She was deprived of a mother's love, is how I heard it. She was an abused child. She was addicted to medicine for her skin condition. So what that is doing is making her a victim. So it's not that she is an evil person or anything. It's just, oh, she was abused. You have to have empathy for her. She has a skin condition. She has a disability. It's nothing that she chose. It's just things that were forced upon her through a tough life. So she's not a villain. She's a victim. And that is just such bullshit, I think, is trying to make villains appear good just because, oh, they're not a villain. They're a victim. And this is really, first thing, I want to take another drink. Oh, gosh. Here we go. Oh, God. I'm almost done with it, actually. Wow. I'm not sure if I've ever drank a whole White Russian, but now I'm barely into the video and I'm almost done. I wonder if I should get a refill. Okay, this is the main thing I wanted to talk about for why I hate the idea of the Wicked series. Is basically, it is taking what is like pretty universally one of the most evil characters in like all of literature, or even like all of media. So when you just think about characters who represent like pure evil, there are really two that come to mind for me. One is the Wicked Witch of the West, and the other would probably be Sauron from Lord of the Rings, if you don't know. So what these people do, like this guy with the Wicked Witch, and also like the Amazon series, they do it with Sauron, is they are making these most evil characters in literature into victims. They're not bad people. They're just misunderstood. They come from just tough backgrounds. They had a hard life. They were bullied. People were mean to them. All the heroes, they were actually bad. They were jerks. They were crazy. And the villain, they weren't trying to be bad. They were just abused. They were bullied. They're a good person deep down at heart, hurt, but they're just being mistreated by the world. They're just given a hard time in life, and so you should have empathy for that. You should have understanding for that. There is no good and evil, there's just shades of gray. And I think, like, no, fuck that. There is definite, like, good and evil in everything, and I think it's fine to actually represent that. So I think it's, like, perfectly all right to have characters in books who represent goodness and also characters who represent evil, and that would be like the Wicked Witch and Sauron and stuff. They're not characters you should ever sympathize with or try to make like empathetic or likable or whatever, where it's just like, oh, they're actually a victim, they're not a bad person, the bad people are these other people. Or maybe there's not even bad people at all, it's just shades of gray. No, I think it's a perfectly like the right idea that there are characters who are purely evil, where there is not goodness in them. They just represent darkness. They are evil for evil's sake. They are just fully corrupt. And again, the two characters that would most come to mind for that for me are the Wicked Witch of the West and Sauron. Like, no, you don't make these characters good, sympathetic, misunderstood, mistreated victims. No, they are evil, they represent evil, and they should always stay evil. And what these people are doing, I think it's a very deliberate attempt. This is not just like some, oh, it's just a retelling, you know, it's not serious. No, I think this is a very serious movement, like in humanity, to blur the lines between good and evil, and to make good evil, and to make evil good. I think that is really what's going on here. You could say like, oh no, it's just a work of fiction, whatever. You're thinking way too hard about it, whatever. But no, I think this is absolutely the case. It is twisting good and evil, making good bad and making bad into good. And this is like a very real thing. And I don't think it's anything to like just joke about or whatever. I think it is a serious problem. These people are absolutely serious that they believe all these like vilified people in all these media like Sauron and the Wicked Witch and whoever, that they're not evil, they're not bad, they're just misunderstood. You have to have empathy with them, you have to understand them. They're not evil because they're evil, they were just bullied, you know? So it's not their fault they're bad, it's your fault because you bullied them. Or the heroes are not really that heroic, you know? They're racist, they're anti-LGBT, they're terrorists, they're whatever. And the traditional villain is just misunderstood and bullied, and it's not really their fault, it's just their upbringing, and they have feelings too. And people really believe this, and this is seriously what they're pushing on people, and that's why they're taking the most like beloved stories of all time and the most, I don't know, stories about good and evil and twisting it and switching it and making, you know, all the good people bad and all the bad people good. That's why they are doing this, is because they are making goodness bad and bad good. Why? Because they themselves are bad, and so they want to be seen as good. That is their goal. So for everything they do, any kind of bad things they do, they just view it as, oh, I'm not doing bad things, I'm doing justice. I was abused sometime in my life, I was violated sometime in my life, I was bullied sometime in my life, so that gives me a right, a moral authority to do what I'm doing. So I'm not doing bad things, I'm just doing what society forced on me. That is what message these kind of people are saying, and I think that is complete bullshit, and I think that is wrong. And I'm gonna have another drink. Wow, I've never finished a whole White Russian before. Whew, not bad. Maybe that Tito's vodka is actually pretty good. I like that. The other stuff I used to have is like much more bitter. And I don't know, I like that. That was pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna have a refill though, because even though this is like a drunk booktube video and all that, and I feel pretty warm, my face feels real hot, I don't want to go down that road, you know? Even though I actually liked that, I don't want to develop a liking for alcohol. So that's my limit, so I'm stopping there, and yeah. So that may actually be all of the like White Russian or all of the vodka and Kahlua that I have, because I don't think I'm going to drink it for any other occasion other than doing booktube videos. And I don't think I'm going to do another one of these videos anytime soon. So yeah, that may be the only alcohol I drink now. Because again, I just don't like alcohol. I don't want that to be my vice. Even though I'm doing this video and, you know, you may think like, dude, this guy seems like he's freaking plastered, even though he's only had like 5 sips. Still, I don't like alcohol. It's not something that's good. I don't want to like promote that, even though I'm kind of playing around with it. Alcoholism is a real problem. So yeah. So anyway, I think that's good for now. I mean, I don't think I want to have another drink. So yeah, I think that's good for me for the White Russian for now. So this book goes on and says that this is a quote from Dorothy in the prologue. Whoever it is, this is from Dorothy. She must surely be grieving the death of her sister, said the child in a somber voice too rich, too sincere for one so young. The witch's skin crawled. Don't go feeling sympathetic now. I certainly can't, said the Tin Woodman, sniffed a bit cynically. But Dorothy's right, said the Scarecrow. No one is exempt from grief. So what that's saying right there is that, you know, you just have to have understanding. The witch has grief too. Her sister was recently killed. So you have to understand, she is probably hurting. Her heart is sore. She's grieving for her sister who was killed. So you should have understanding for her, is what that is saying. And again, I say no, that is bullshit. The Wicked Witch is evil, and I don't care what kind of thoughts she may have had for her sister. She is evil. Okay, and then I guess I'll just say my other impressions of the book, because I only read 20 pages. From there, it goes on to this scene where, okay, the next scene is talking about the birth, I think, of the witch. And one of the first things it says is that, you know, her mother, the witch's mother, is pregnant, and she refers to the parasite inside of her. That is how she refers to her baby in her belly, you know? And so yeah, she calls her a parasite, and I want to put this down. So I've kind of alluded to it on my channel that I have strong feelings about abortion. And so that right away, when I saw that, oh, the mother just calls the baby a parasite, that right away just had me think, frick, no, that is no. And again, it could just go back to the author trying to make the witch feel like a sympathetic character by making everyone else into complete a-holes. So the mother is just, oh, it's a parasite. And so yeah, what the author is doing is just a really cheap, easy way of trying to make the witch feel like, oh, she's just mistreated. She's misunderstood. She grew up in a hard life. Her mother thought she was a parasite and all that. And so what all that is doing is just really very cheaply trying to make it so everyone else is bad, so the witch must be pretty good. The witch isn't as bad as everyone else. And again, I think that's just a really thoughtless way to try to make a villain into a sympathetic character. So I think it's all right to actually tell a story from the perspective of a villain, but I think it's right that you should still kind of keep to the idea that they are a villain, not that you have to present them as a victim of anything, or that you have to have empathy with them or anything. I think you could still have characters who are evil or whatever, but you could still make them, I want to say a likable character, but I don't mean likable in the way that, oh, I like this person. Instead, what I mean by that is you could still make it where you like reading about them, where basically you enjoy reading the scenes about the witch. That is very different than writing a story where you are actually meant to like her, where you're meant to think, oh, she's a victim. She's just misunderstood. Everyone else has mistreated her. So she is actually right, or even if she's not necessarily right, you just have to understand that the bad things she did were forced on her by the circumstances she grew up in. And again, I say no, fuck that. That is wrong. And it's perfectly capable to have a villain in a book where you could have them be a complete villain, but still be a really interesting character to read about, where you just can see kind of get in their head about how they think, why they do the things they do and all that. That is all fine. So I'm not against having a book from the perspective of the villain, or even the villain thinks that they're actually a good person doing the right thing. I think that is fine. But to actually twist it and to say, no, all the good characters are bad and the bad characters are actually good, or that they were mistreated, or you have to have empathy with them, or they're not so bad, or whatever, I think that is wrong. And I think that's a very cheap way of doing things. I want to have a story set from the perspective of the villain, so I'm just going to make every other character completely unlikable. So that way it's going to be like, oh, well, the villain doesn't seem that unlikable compared to everyone else. That's just a really dumb, basic way to like write it, where it doesn't require any kind of thought about how to make an actual compelling, where it's like, oh, you can actually really get in their head and see why they do the things they do, why they rationalize things the way they do, how they became the person they are. That is all interesting stuff and all that. But not just saying, oh, they're a victim, you have to understand them, you have to have empathy with them. No, I say they are evil and they should remain evil. And then after that, the book like started talking about all this religious stuff. But kind of before that, there was also other stuff as well. Basically, like the husband of this woman giving birth, he says something like, she's about to give her baby, and he says something like, oh, there'll be other babies, so he just wants to leave, just basically like, oh, I'll be there for a birth of another kid, I don't need to be there for this one, there'll be others. So again, it's just the same thing, making every other character in the book unlikable because the author thinks somehow that will make the main character, the witch, seem likable because he's not giving her all the unlikable traits or whatever, all the unlikable dialogue. He's giving that all to other characters to make them completely unlikable because he thinks that will make the witch likable. And that doesn't work because to me it's just like, this is the Wicked Witch of the West. She is evil. I don't care. You could surround her with the worst characters imaginable and I would still say it's the Wicked Witch. She is evil. I don't care what people are around her. I don't care that like, oh, all the people around her are saying anti-LGBTQIAPWXYZ things. So, oh, I'm going to have sympathy for the witch because of that. Oh, these other people said something about hermaphrodites, or, oh, they said she's a lesbian or whatever. So I'm going to sympathize with the witch. No, that is complete bullshit. I'm not going to do that. This is the Wicked Witch of the West. She is evil. So anyway, what I wanted to say is the next like part of the book deals with like, it descends into all this talk about religion, and there's something about like some kind of dragon clock thing, which I just didn't completely understand that, and I didn't want to read any about that. Like, why is this book suddenly spending like 4 pages talking about religion and this dragon clock thing? It's just, I don't want to read that. And then it's kind of like very casually mentioned that when the witch is born, she has like a green color. And it's like, okay, you could actually write some good stuff about like the origins of that. Like, why is she green? But he just completely skips over that. And that's like, if I was writing a prequel or whatever, or a retelling of The Wicked Witch of the West, that would be one of the first things I would think of is, why is the witch green? What does that mean? How did she become green? Was she born green, or was she like became green through some kind of an accident? What kind of accident was that, or whatever? How did she become green? What does that mean? Like, clearly in the film it's just meant to show like her corruption, she is green. So it's like that is showing how she is like fully corrupt or whatever. But if you could like do a retelling and explain why she is green, what that actually means, how she became that way, that's actually kind of some interesting stuff. Like if you could create some actual lore behind that to explain why she is green, that would be interesting. But instead, this author is just like, no, I'm not going to explain that at all. I'm just going to talk about this dragon clock religion cult thing. And I was just, I don't want to read that. I don't like have time for religion. I just don't completely buy that at all. So I was just like, skip. So yeah, basically I wound up skipping that whole chapter when I found out like it was just 3 pages about like a dragon clock thing. I just did not care. Even if that is like essential to the story, I do not care. I don't want to read about some dragon clock religion thing. I'm not interested in that. I don't think it like fits the like world of Oz or whatever. I'm just not interested in that. I don't want to read about that. I don't want to read about religion in Oz. I'm not interested. And then I forget if I really read anything more about the book. That was kind of largely it. And basically, so what I think about the writing is the writing itself was way overdone. He was trying to use far too many words, and he was trying to sound way smarter than I think he is or that he needs to be to tell this story. And also because, what's his name? The guy who wrote, I want to say L. Frank Baum. I guess that's his name, L. Frank Baum. He wrote the Wizard of Oz series. He wrote it for children, and it's really easy to read. It's real simple to read. And this book just reads like some guy who is trying to write like Tolkien, but he is doing it in the style or whatever in the world of the Wizard of Oz, and it just completely doesn't work. Like he is trying to have a Tolkienian backstory for everything, like with this dragon clock religion cult thing, and it just completely does not fit for the world of Oz. So that right away just like, to me, it's kind of like the author is trying to say, oh, look at me. I can use such better vocabulary than L. Frank Baum. I'm a better writer than him. I'm a better intellectual than him. I could write better words than him. Look, my words have more letters than his words does. My language is more complex than his. I'm a better writer than L. Frank Baum. I'm a better creator than L. Frank Baum. And I'm just like, no, you are not. You are an imitator, and a poor imitator. You are taking something, a guy, L. Frank Baum, who wrote a story that was beloved by millions of children and has been a classic for, decades and has withstood the test of time. And you are just trying to take over what he did and just twist it all on its end and flip it all around and make everything. Basically, you are shitting on everything that he did because you just want to make money off what he did. And you want to inject your politics into his books and to make your own views of politics and good and evil and stuff, and use his world as a vehicle for pushing your own political and ethical beliefs. And I think that's just BS to do that. It's shitting on the original author and this beloved story, children's story, and just injecting this guy's own personal views about religion and politics and all that crap into this story. I don't know too much what else to say. So like, I did not even read to the point where I got into like all the animal rights stuff, because apparently like one of the main features of the Wicked Witch is that she believes in animal rights. And that's like her big thing, is she is pushing for animal rights. And apparently, like, I was looking up the summary for the second Wicked movie, and it was talking all about how the Wicked Witch is pushing for animal rights. And I was just like, that is so completely stupid. And yeah, so apparently that is like true to the book. That is something the Wicked Witch is really trying to do. And of course, I'm wearing my Animal Lives Matter shirt. because I am actually kind of essentially a vegan or whatever, I'm up against animal slaughter. So you'd think I would like that, like, ooh, the Wicked Witch believes in animal rights. But I think that's so completely stupid because it's taking a very modern issue and it's not even like changing it around or making it subtle in any way about like taking a specific kind of animal in the Oz world and the Wicked Witch is trying to protect them. No, it's just in general she is fighting for animal rights and it's always like capitalized like animal rights. That's what she's pushing for and it's such injecting his own political views into the book where he just thinks, oh, well, I support animal rights. So that's what the witch will do is she'll be a big supporter of animal rights. So you should have empathy with her. You should understand she's fighting for something good. She's not a bad person. She's just trying to defend all the animals. Like the monkeys in The Wizard of Oz that you think is like, it's never really explained who those monkeys are or how they came into the service of the witch. I mean, you may think like, oh, that's just like her slave army or something, she just controls these monkeys or whatever. Maybe she created them, who knows? But this freaking moron, he's just like, oh no, she is with the monkeys because she cares about the monkeys. She wants to protect them. And the mean old Wizard of Oz, he's like a terrorist. And so like in this book, apparently, the Wizard of Oz is like, he kind of has like a Gestapo kind of secret police. And basically the professor guy, I forget what his name is, the wizard, he's basically like a terrorist. He's some kind of secret police, brutal, authoritarian, something or other. And so the Wicked Witch is trying to fight against his oppressive rule. And she's trying to fight for the animals. And I think that is just completely stupid. And yeah, so I'm like, I don't sympathize with that at all. Again, this is the Wicked Witch of the West. I think she is evil. I'm not going to think, oh, she is fighting for animal rights. I think, no, that is just the author trying to make her appear likable by giving her some kind of trait that he himself probably believes in. To think like, oh, she's not a bad person. She's fighting for animal rights. She just wants to save the dolphins. Like, that's the witch's only goal all along. She doesn't, like, she's not evil. She just wants to save the whales. That's her only goal in this, and that's just stupid. I swear my ears keep feeling like they're on fire, but like I feel them and they're kind of cold actually. Okay, I guess the only thing I really otherwise need to talk about is just the musical. So I have never seen the musical. I've never seen any of the movies. I don't care to see them. I don't want to see them. Again, because I just think the witch is evil. So I don't care if you just surround it with music or whatever, or even if in the play, in the Broadway play or whatever, in the movie, like that's something I read about reading a lot of reviews of this book is a lot of people say like they love the musical but they don't love the book so much because the book is just blah, but the musical like adds so much more depth and detail to it and it just makes it a lot more interesting and all that. Like the witch is a much more compelling character in the musical or whatever, and I mean that's all fine, I don't really care about that as much, except for the fact that it's still the Wicked Witch. So it's like, why make her into a sympathetic character? And I think kind of the whole idea is that people aren't, well, first off, there's the idea that people actually sympathize with the witch, which again, I think I've pretty well covered that, where I don't think you should sympathize with her. She is supposed to, I think, represent evil. You don't empathize with her. You don't think, oh, she is a victim. She is misunderstood. She's just fighting for animal rights. She's a good person. Yeah, she may do some things that are kind of wrong, but those things were forced on her by the oppressive wizard and the terrorist secret police Gestapo wizard and the anti-LGBT scarecrow and all that shit that is just stupid. So that's one thing, but then, God, what was I going to say? I was going to say something else. I think it's just that the idea that, you know, that's one thing about the musical is it's making the witch into like a sympathetic character or whatever. So right off, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to sympathize with her. I'm not going to think like, oh, she's misunderstood. She's a victim. The other characters are whatever. So they're unlikable and the witch is more likable because of that. No, she is not. She is evil, and no matter what you say, I'm going to insist that she is evil. She's still evil. You can't rationalize that. You can't make me think, oh, she was just bullied, and so you have to understand the decision she made to get her to the point she's at. No, she is evil. End of story. But more than that, just the idea with the musical to me is that you can add music to things and that will make it into some kind of hip thing where it's like, oh, it has boppy tunes or whatever, like, oh, the music is so great, so Wicked is a good story and the Wicked Witch is a sympathetic character and all that crap. No, I think that's complete bullshit. You could have like a musical of Mustache Man and the certain thing that happened in the 1940s in Germany and just give it some lovely bopping tunes like da 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 and just make it like a catchy tune. And would that make Mustache Man into a sympathetic character? Probably it would. People would think, ooh, that's such a lovely song. I love that song. It just has such great rhythm. I'm always humming that song. Just such a great song. I love that song. So I love Mustache Man is basically the way this kind of stuff works out is, oh, I'm going to take a bad character and just write a lovely musical with it with a lovely song. And that will make that character or that figure or whatever into a likable person, like with Hamilton, with the Alexander Hamilton play. Like, oh, just give it lovely songs and then people will love Alexander Hamilton. Or give the Wicked Witch a lovely song and people will love the Wicked Witch. Or give Mustache Man a lovely boppin' song, a Broadway musical, and people will love Mustache Man and it'll make him relatable and it'll make everything nice and just, oh, I love that song. And I think that is just stupid. Like, the ear can like have certain appealing things, you know, where it's like, ooh, I like that song. That's a catchy song. But what they're doing is it's like reprogramming your brain to think, oh, this is a good thing, you know. I love the witch because I love that song. So it's associating something good with something bad, you know. So it's like it's feeding you crap, but it's then giving some kind of great musical number to it. Like, oh, you love the music, so don't you love the crap? That's what this crap is forcing on you by giving it like a lovely musical number or whatever. And again, I just don't buy that. So this whole idea like the musical and how popular it is or whatever, I mean, it may indeed have some very great songs. It might, in fact, be a great musical. It may be a great movie, maybe. And again, like, just the music of it, it may be like, ooh, I love that song. That song stays in my head or whatever. But still, the idea is, it's basically set to the Wicked Witch. I mean, it's trying to make you like the Wicked Witch just by making you like the song. So anyway, there's kind of two things I want to say about that is basically on the first side, just this idea that you cannot really make just like a musical number or whatever that will make me think, oh, that thing that is actually bad is actually good. Like, just give Sauron or the Wicked Witch or Mustache Man or whatever, any kind of awful thing like slavery, like just like have a Slavery the musical where it's just like all the slave owners are just talking about la da 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 slavery, yay, and just make it a real fancy Broadway hit with a really bopping number and people will suddenly love slavery. So that is the first thing I want to say is just like, no, I mean, things may be pleasing to the ear, but you're still glorifying this certain awful thing, whether it's the Wicked Witch or Sauron or the Mustache Man or slavery or any kind of bad thing. You can't just make a nice musical to it and suddenly make that thing good. Things don't work that way, and I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to indulge in that. So, no, I don't care how popular the music is or whatever. It's a bad thing making the Wicked Witch into this good character. And again, I know people are going to think like, oh, it's just a story. But again, I don't really believe it's just a story. I believe people actually believe in this. They are actually using this as a justification to say that the things they do, the evil things they do, are not evil because these people are just misunderstood. So they're not bad people. They're actually good people. You just have to understand the reasons why they are doing things. So the evil things they are doing is actually good. You actually have to empathize and understand why they are doing this. That is, I think, the real message going on here. And again, I think that is wrong. I do not subscribe to that. I think that is evil. These people are trying to flip good and evil, making good bad and bad good because they themselves are bad. And so because of it, they want to justify why they are bad, why they are actually heroes. Like, oh no, I'm not actually a villain, even though I'm doing all these terrible things. They are actually justified because of reasons. And I say, no, they are bad because you are bad, and those things are bad. So there's no justification in it. I'm not going to buy it. There is an absolute good and evil, and I'm going to call people out on it. So that is one thing for the musical. The other thing is that I think the book is just crap. It's overwritten. It's trying to be way too smart, way too intellectual. He's pushing his politics. He's just not really explaining things well. He's not doing a very good retelling. It's not even a faithful retelling where he's trying to actually keep it within the world of Oz that L. Frank Baum created. But even that, I could kind of understand an author flying free from the canon or whatever, to say okay, I understand this author wrote that, but I'm going to, do my own thing with it. I can understand that. I even would do that myself. Those other things as well, one, it's shitting on what that person actually created, what that person was actually pushing. When you think, okay, I'm going to do a retelling of that in my own way, but I'm going to do it shitting on everything that writer tried to do, everything they stood for or whatever. I'm just going to inject my own views over it. I think that's no. I mean, if you want to write something where you want to push your own politics or whatever, or push your own ethical views or whatever, make your own content, make your own story. Don't take things that are beloved for all time, The Wizard of Oz, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, whatever. All these things beloved by millions for generations now, actually, and just shitting on it because you want to inject your own politics. So instead of actually telling it in a story that you create, you can't create anything. So all you can do is pervert and destroy things that are much better than you, by people who are much more brilliant than you, by people who are much more creative than you, by people who had much more to say than you. These people cannot create anything good. All they can do is pervert everything that was once good, like The Wizard of Oz, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, even though there's issues with that, whatever. They're taking everything in society and perverting it to push their own political agenda that, frankly, I think is evil. That's what these people are pushing. And once again, you know, you may say like, oh, it's just a story, but I don't really think it's just a story. It is actually basically a war between good and evil and right and wrong. And what these people are doing is pushing their political views on people and trying to say that, oh, my ideas are actually good and yours are bad, and that there is no actual like good and evil. It's just all shades of gray. And so the evil things I do are actually justified, and the evil things I do are actually good. And anyone who pushes back against me, they're the evil ones. That's what I think this is all really pushing. All these things about, like, you know, the Wizard of Oz, wicked retelling or whatever, the Amazon rings of power crap and all that. It's pushing evil and it's pushing politics and it's destroying everything that was once good in society and like good messages and all that, and it's perverting it to push their own politics and all that. So I don't think you can just have a lovely popular musical and think like, oh, this is actually a good book because of that, or this story is actually good because it has a lovely song based on it or whatever. So I just don't buy that. So anyway, yeah, those are basically my thoughts on the Wicked series. And yeah, so the book itself, I thought it was just terribly overwritten. The stuff about religion was just like skip. The stuff about all the political views, like the animal rights thing, is just stupid. The writer injecting his own politics into stuff without any kind of subtlety or creativity or making it fit within the Oz world or whatever. It's just stupid. Trying to make the witch seem sympathetic by having every other character in the book be completely unlikable and unbearable, and trying to make the witch feel like empathetic, like, oh, you have to just understand she was abused, she had a tough childhood, she may be on like the wrong medication, and she is just grieving for her sister and all that crap. So yeah, I think it's perfectly capable to write an actual book from the witch's perspective where you can actually like flesh out more of how the witch came to be how she is, why she thinks the way she does. I mean, I think you can really easily write an actual good story about that that would at least keep somewhat in line with L. Frank Baum's like world building and all that. But even like if not that, even if like your ideas of the witch's origins would not be something that L. Frank Baum would exactly think of or like bless himself, you know, you could at least still have it be some kind of a good message or a good story or whatever, where it's still like well written. Like, again, just explaining, why is the witch green? What does that mean? How did she become green? Does it just mean like she represents evil? Is that just like the corruption within her? Or is there some kind of like deeper like lore reason about what green skin actually means and how she came to be green? Those would be interesting things. And also, like, why is she like afraid of water? Why is she weak to water? You know, that's not really something so much that it, if at all, that's explained in the books. But that's like something that would be an interesting thing to play with, is why is the witch weak to water? You know, that seems like a very interesting thing. So that'd be something I would explore. Not, oh, I'm going to begin a book by talking about this dragon clock cult, and this mother thinks her baby is a parasite, and the scarecrow, the tinsman, and the lion are all just anti-LGBT jerkwads, and you have to have empathy for the witch, and she's just an abused child and all that crap. I think that's just bullshit. So anyway, I've like sworn more on this video than I ever have in any other video. So yeah, but Oh, this just frustrates me. This whole idea about making the worst characters in literature into good, sympathetic characters. And again, I don't have a problem with actually having a book from a villain's standpoint, or where the villain thinks they are good and everyone else is bad. That is fine. I mean, I think it's been said before that every villain thinks they are the good guy. That is entirely fine. I don't have a problem with that, in trying to show that, trying to show why the villain thinks they're actually not as bad a person. But just to do it by making everyone else completely unlikable, and oh, the witch isn't evil, she's just fighting for animal rights, and the Wizard of Oz is a Gestapo Nazi fascist terrorist. That's just stupid. So yeah, so anyway, I think it's a stupid book. I think it's a bad book. I think it's a horrible message where it's trying to turn everything that is good, like good heroic characters, where people strive to do good things, and making them into villains. Or like in the case of Dorothy, where Dorothy is trying to be empathetic toward the witch. Like, oh, Dorothy is good because she understands the witch is just a neglected child, an abused child or whatever. So that's why Dorothy is good. It's not because of any actual intrinsic quality to Dorothy, like anything she is trying to accomplish. The only reason she is good is because she understands that the witch is actually a victim. No, I think that's wrong. So I think there is like good and evil in all things, really, and literature should have that. Literature should go ahead and have characters who represent goodness and badness, and you don't have to always have shades of gray. You can have it where characters like the Wicked Witch and Sauron are completely bad, completely evil. You don't have to make them empathetic or victims or misunderstood or anything like that. Those characters are evil. That's all you need to do. And other characters could be morally gray, like Boromir from Lord of the Rings or whatever, you know, where they're not evil and they're not necessarily good. They're morally gray, where they could be, you know, partially good, partially bad. And that's something Tolkien did, is Tolkien had a mix between characters who were wholly good, like Aragorn and Gandalf, characters who were morally gray, like Boromir, and characters who were purely bad, like Sauron. But instead, these imposters like Gregory Maguire and the Amazon Prime people think, oh, no, the Wicked Witch and Sauron and all that crap, they are actually misunderstood. They are victims. They were just bullied. They are trying to be good people. The good people are actually bad. Everyone else in the book, they're bad. But the villain, they're not really a villain. They're just misunderstood. You have to understand why they are the way they are. They're actually trying to push for something good, but the heroes are preventing them from doing good. That's just no. I think those people creating that crap are evil themselves, and they're just trying to excuse their own wickedness and make their wickedness into a virtue, and to make all good characters bad, because that's their goal, is to make everything bad good and make everything good bad. So I just don't subscribe to that at all. I think that's BS. I don't like that. I don't support that. I don't care how bopping the musical numbers are in the Broadway play or the movie or whatever. I don't care. The Wicked Witch of the West is evil. I know it's a work of fiction, but I still think fiction should have characters who are purely evil. And the first one who comes to mind really is the Wicked Witch. There is no goodness in her, so I won't support this story where it's trying to make her into a sympathetic victim. I'm not doing that. So I hate the whole concept for the Wicked series. Anyway, that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. I know I've whatever. So yeah, Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in another video. What are your thoughts? What do you think about what I say? Have I been like taking this way too seriously? Is this actually a good book? Is the musical or the movie just like really great or whatever? What do you think? Like, was the musical good and the book bad, or both good or both bad? Or have you not seen either of them, or have you seen one of them, or whatever? Whatever you want to comment about, that's what the comment section is for. Have I been like completely out of my mind? Whatever you want to talk about. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.
2, 3, 4.